brand purpose is the key and the cornerstone to every campaign. And whether it's from something as simple as like pizza that's delivered hot, make sure that your pizza is delivered hot. It doesn't have to be as provocative necessarily as taking a stand on what maybe current issues are politically, but just making sure that you can stand on 2 feet for what your product claims are.
This is Velocitize Talks, and I'm Eric Jones. I'm here with Tasha Cronin, who's the co-director of interactive production at Droga5. Tasha, it's great to have you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I wanted to dive right in and kind of talk about a topic that we've all read a lot about, agency evolution. You have an incredible background on the film side and also working for tech companies. With the encroachment of tech companies on agency work and also, brands, almost unquenchable desire for great content. What do you see as the path forward for, agencies today?
I think the big difference is really agencies provide incredible strategy. And at least where I'm currently working, a good brief is key to effective and breakthrough work. And that's where sometimes production companies or even internal agencies at big brands can falter, just that they don't have those insights, they haven't done the consumer research, so they don't know how to speak to people effectively. And once that brief then gets in the hands of amazing creatives, then that's when good work comes. So I think it really comes down to simple strategy. That's the key.
We were talking earlier about, an amazing activation at South by, Westworld. Yeah. Experiential marketing has kind of become, the name of the game. Millennials obviously are incredibly interested in experiences, and as technology has become more and more commoditized, yeah, experiences have sort of become the differentiator. Mm-hmm. How do you see that playing out in your work on a daily basis? I
mean, we still create a lot of content when it comes to passive content, either TV content or online video or even billboards. We, as just people living in the world, are just barraged by branded content everywhere. We're watching our TV while we're on our phone. So a piece of passive content really has to be remarkable to break through that. Whereas people, I think millennials all the way through to, our age, like they're hungry for something more. And I think brands need to take time to look at their consumers and see what it is that they're wanting to do. It could be as simple as like, I'd love to sit down with my family and not have any devices on the table. If you're a brand, how can you help encourage that either behavior or even create an experience where people can come and do that? Or, if you're a young sneakerhead, what do you want? You want access to, Virgil Abloh, who's doing a collaboration with Nike. So it's a matter of like taking time to listen and observe and watch to see how are people spending their free time, and is there a way that I can enrich that? Is there something that can put a smile on their face while they're doing that that's associated with my brand?
On the enjoyment thing, against that backdrop of experiences, are there types of experiences or content that you would say resonate more strongly with certain generations? Mm-hmm. As an example, do older generations, let's say boomers, prefer content that informs versus younger generations that may prefer content that entertains?
100%. I mean, I think, we've seen the dawning of these Instagrammable museum exhibitions, or even when new hotels are opening, they're asking their architects, okay, where is the place in my hotel that is going to be on Instagram? Those spaces are being designed. You've got the Museum of Ice Cream where people are paying $40 to go, and you do get some free ice cream along the way, but really it's about people being able to take pictures of themselves and post that online. So I think younger generation, college age, it's about what kind of content they then can post of themselves doing something that's maybe associated with your brand, whereas older folks who have, more considerations in their life, either kids or a career or a home that they might be taking care of, want to engage in content that enriches and helps solve their own problems. So is it something like how to renovate your kitchen, or some sort of AR app, like instead of going through IKEA, sitting through the catalog via the AR app and trying to picture like, what does this look like in my home, to help reduce the amount of time and stress that I'm spending out there shopping for something or even putting together a piece of flat pack furniture. So I think it is problem solving when it comes to older generations.
How as you're trying to build those experiences and conceptualize them, what are some of the challenges that you typically run up against, in creating those amazing physical experiences that are, sort of seamless with online or digital experiences?
I think it's, there's the nuts and bolts of just the cost of things, and trying to get a brand to understand the investment of, $500,000 towards an experiential project that may or may not gain the amount of foot traffic that, say, a guaranteed TV spot against a certain program, okay, that's going to be a certain amount of impressions. But what's the intangible part is that the quality of that impression when they're there in your experience, interacting physically with your brand, I think is far greater than just passive eyeballs on a TV spot. So I think a bit of the hurdle is brands understanding what their money is going towards and taking a little bit of a leap of faith that it will be a better, genuine interaction with their consumers.
So diving a little bit farther into that, in the sort of art versus science of things, data science allows for amazing pattern recognition, in real creativity, there is no pattern, right? It's just completely, lateral to everything that's existed before. How do you balance all of those things in your work? Luckily where I'm working at now, we have an incredible data strategist team, and they are able to provide us with background information that's not just quantitative but qualitative, and see trends in behavior that then help inform our briefs. So data research is key to everything that we do. Even, the most sort of warm, organic feeling campaigns that we may do around sausages, still there's, quite a bit of hardworking research that goes into that. It's also helpful to know the rules, know the best practices, know the guidelines, know what's effective to then be able to break them. If you know that you're breaking them for a particular reason because you want to not be like every other Facebook ad or every other YouTube pre-roll, like the Geico work, for example, if you have those guidelines and you have those best practices, then you can get to know them well in order to know how to usurp them. What are some of the coolest experiences that you yourself have seen or observed?
I was jealous of my colleague who got to go see Westworld. That was pretty incredible. At South by, I was able to go to the Ready Player One, and I think the attention to detail with the art direction and set design of that space was absolutely incredible. I think that probably tops my list. Even though I'm a diehard Adidas fan, I think a lot of the campus work that Nike has done and how they've engaged the sneakerhead community has been remarkable, and it's actually been quite analog. It's a matter of getting panels of people to talk. Again, it was I referenced it earlier, access to these people and hearing them speak, and then the ability to get one of X number of limited supply of sneakers. I think that's been pretty remarkable too. We're all deluged by content, branded content, and so with that, with Cambridge Analytica, with fake news, we're beginning to develop maybe a healthy skepticism toward all of that content. You've said that brands need to think more like Hollywood directors. What did you mean by that? And how would you counsel brands to kind of navigate those challenges? I think when I was talking about brands needing to think like Hollywood directors, it was definitely in the context of storytelling. Obviously for brand recognition, there are best practices in terms of getting a logo or a mention within the first 2 or 3 seconds of an online video and then wrapping it up, or even having an omnipresent bug. So there's those considerations, but along with just good storytelling, if you're interrupting the story to plug something in, it's going to take your user out of it. I mean, we've even seen it on TV shows when there's a bad Subway sandwich placement on Hawaii Five-0. It's just why don't we just go divert to a commercial for a second? Making sure that your campaigns all have a consistent red line, a red thread through it all, will help with that. And users, as far as user-generated content or campaigns that are asking people to engage with them, gone are the days where you allow a brand to scrape your Facebook profile and then output some sort of personalized video or message that is, talking to you, Eric, and happens to have pictures of like your friends who you've been most photographed with, I think people are going to be pretty skeptical of doing that. People are just a lot more knowledgeable and wary of who they share their data with.
Yeah, I kind of wonder, are we at a point where brands are sort of less storytellers and more story makers or story co-creators, where they're inviting, their audiences in far more than ever before to kind of create something together?
I think so. I mean, I think it's less talking at and talking with. It's it's conversations with consumers. It's conversations with either the people who are already involved with your brand or the people that you hope to be involved with your brand. So I think, that idea of with and togetherness is something that has been, kind of on trend for a couple of years now, but will continue to be even more so.
We live in an increasingly polarized world. Millennials, though, want their brands to stand for something. Is it even possible for brands to stay on the sidelines today and not participate on issues or topics that are, in fact, core to their business?
Absolutely not. I mean, brand purpose is the key and the cornerstone to every campaign. And whether it's from something as simple as like pizza that's delivered hot, make sure that your pizza is delivered hot. It doesn't have to be as provocative necessarily as taking a stand on what maybe current issues are politically, but just making sure that you can stand on 2 feet for what your product claims are.
That was Tasha Cronin from Droga5.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tasha.
Thank you.